This is Antoinette James, one voice belonging to We the People. I'm talking about my book, We Are Revolting, An Inconvenient Truth. You can buy it on Amazon, it's out now, and it's giving the big picture of what is happening in this world, what we don't know, what has been hidden from us, and why we're being hoodwinked by our governments, particularly in the Western world. The Western world that I'm particularly wanting to talk about today, specifically America and the United Kingdom or England. I dedicate a section of We're Revolting talking about America and England. The section is called The Battered West because it's America and England that are on the front lines of the war that we are fighting, the war that's being waged by 1% of the 1%. By those that live in the shadows and rule from the shadows, particularly through United Nations. America has been battered from day one by the tyranny that has its hands around our throat. It was Benjamin Franklin that answered a lady who was inquiring what type of government the continent of the United States was going to be governed by. And Benjamin said, a republic, if you can keep it. And those are words that echo down through the centuries. Those are words that are very sad words, but they're inspiring words. And it's not too late for us to grab back the republic. I talk about us. I'm not an American citizen, but it says we, all of us in the world, not just the Western world, every citizen. It doesn't matter what country you come from. America is like the canary in the coal mine. If we look at America, which we do need to do to be informed, forget about all the incidental politics of the Democrats versus the Republicans. Certainly socialism has got a big hand. They tend to be more proactive in slavery, more proactive in abortion, more proactive in lack of freedoms, social engineering. They do tend to be more pushy that way, more activist, more violent than the Republican right-leaning parties. But it's not whether it's Republican or Democrat, it's who is controlling them. When we look back in history, we can see that those governments, those presidents that have not been controlled have been either reminded, like Andrew Jackson, Gerald R. Ford, James L. Carter, Ronald Reagan. These four presidents all had assassination attempts. Ford had it twice to remind them, get into line. And even James Carter drunk away and announced that he had lost control of the government. So it's not Republican Dems, it is who is controlling them. We can talk about George Washington, the first president of the United States, John Adams, the second president, Thomas Jefferson, the third, James Monroe, the fifth, Zachary Taylor, the 12th, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States, William McKinley, the 25th, John F. Kennedy, the 35th. All these presidents were assassinated, particularly Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, for trying to get the money back into the hands of the people. We are all debt slaves. It doesn't matter if you're American or you're in the UK or you're in any other country. If you've got the international bankers, if you've got the Federal Reserve in your country, we are debt slaves. In UK and England, it was illegal to tax the people's income because you were taxing their energy, you were taxing their labor, you were making them work for the government, and the government was taking their money. And that was called slavery. In England, during the Napoleonic Wars, their people were taxed, their income was taxed to pay for those wars. When the war finished, the taxes finished. And then in the 1800s, the government decided to re-tax the people's income. And every year in the United Kingdom, the government vote to turn that taxation, make it legal for another year. In the United Kingdom, 47% of the average income is taxed one way and another. It's slavery. It's these freedoms that we need to really work on and to gain back. There are different ways that we can look after our communities and fund our communities, But having that amount of money going to government that isn't funding very much at all, the national health is on its knees. The communities and the roads are in a dreadful situation. Most of the money is off to fight some war so that they can get more fingers in the oil pot or change over the finances, the monetary system of these countries into a debt system of fiat finance. Another area of the lack of freedoms is gun control. In medieval Europe, the papacy forbade longbows to be used because the longbows could go through the armor of his soldiers. When tyranny comes in, the first thing they do is get rid of the arms, get rid of the guns. Hitler did that, Mao Zedong did that, Lenin did that. Many regimes, Cambodia, many regimes, the first thing they do is de-arm the population. And that's what they're trying to do in America now. But the founding fathers purposely made sure that the citizens could be armed against a tyrannical government. And at the moment, particularly the Democrats are really trying hard. A lot of false flags, a lot of choreographed massacres and murders in schools by the CIA, allegedly, to try and get public opinion to stop the legalization of arms, of guns. We're losing our sovereignty as nations. United Nations is becoming, and particularly the European Union, becoming very vocal about these countries losing their sovereignty. I encourage you to get the book, get the big picture, share it with people. What can we all do? We can all do something, and it's a sharing of information. What did I do? I wrote a book. What can you do to be proactive? You can push the like button. It would really encourage me. Share this video with your friends. Get this information out there. Follow me on social media. The links are below. Stop listening to mainstream media and corporate-owned media. It's just what they want you to hear. It's propaganda. It's fake news, most of it. It is the type of news that is just a distraction. It isn't real adult news that we need to know as adults. Keep informed. Visit www.antoinettejames.com. Keep well. Don't eat processed foods. Try and buy as organically as you can. Keep going. There's hope on the horizon. Get We Are Revolting. The link is below to the Amazon. Get excited in life. Get your endorphins whizzing around. Let's get this world back. Let's get this world back into the hands of we the people. This is Antoinette James, one voice belonging to we the people.